Yeah. Let's do this thing. Episode 18 of the Center Ring TCR, your favorite esports podcast. Coming to you live, pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is, what is the date? February 1st. Oh man, first of the month.
Right on it.
Time is a little bit after 9 p.m. for all you fact checkers out there. Like I said, this is episode 18 of the Center Ring. My name is Tim. The co-host for tonight, like always, is Brandon. Brandon, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm not happy that you decided to be half an hour late today, but
Half an hour late? Or on time and we just got here early the last couple of weeks?
Fair enough.
So we are here, like I said. We have tons to talk about. Of course, we'll always will end the show with the micro. We had esports in the real world this weekend. Halo was at the X Games. Lots of discussion there. Almost controversial discussion. But we'll get into that. We will also kind of branch that off into, are we forcing esports into mainstream the wrong way? Too much? We'll discuss that. But for our first topic today, I want to talk a little bit about the news. It actually broke today. We don't get to talk about breaking news a lot on this show. It seems like it always happens the day after we record. But I do want to take the opportunity then to discuss this G2 Counter-Strike pickup here. So for those of you probably already know, but G2 ended up picking up ex-Titan because Titan ended up folding. And G2 organization sold their team to FaZe for a undisclosed amount, but rumor is 700,000, right?
That was the
that's the
ballpark.
rumor. It's all, of course, not official. So there's that. Let me take you down a timeline though on how this all worked out with G2 and Ocelot to the CEO of G2. I kind of have my opinions on this. It's whatever, though. So in September, G2 sells Scream to then Titan for, again, rumor was around $150,000. January 13th, Titan folds. Titan is no more. That just happened a few weeks ago. January 21st, G2 sells their roster to FaZe for upwards of $700,000. So this was all right there in 3-4 month range. And then today, February 1st, G2 picks up Titan, aka getting Scream back like nothing ever happened. So G2, and they did say in their statement when they sold the team to FaZe that, this is not them bowing out of the Counter-Strike scene. They will be back. I don't think anyone thought less than 10 days. I'm sure timing is always a thing when it comes to this kind of stuff. Maybe they didn't expect to have a team. Well, no, I can't even say that because Titan actually folded before they sold the team to FaZe.
Yeah, it's obviously it's not going to say anything in here about whether or not
speculations are everywhere.
Yeah. But you don't exactly pick up another team. I mean, he's probably going to have one of the most successful esports businesses just because he just happens to be in the right place at the right time right now. Like, how often does a top tier 1 team, not top, how often does a bottom tier 1 team just, oops, we don't have an org anymore?
The conspiracist theorist in me is going crazy right now because it all does seem a little bit too convenient. It's like you said, Ocelot will be very successful as a businessman considering it's almost like he's treating teams almost like a fixer-upper. Like in a home.
He's flipping them.
He's flipping teams, flipping players left and right so far. I know earlier today, Cadian tweeted out something of the sorts of basically making a joke on how G2 sells Scream, gets $150,000, gets them back for free and basically makes profit and ends up with, for the most part, the same team than what they were in. I guess Titan had a richer history than what the current G2 now FaZe roster is, but I probably, if they were going any given day, they probably are the same, right? Would you feel confident going one way or the other? Like I said, take the names off, take the names away.
If you ignore the history of the teams, then I'd put them pretty level.
The recent history
ever since Scream rejoined Titan, they've underperformed for where you think they should be. Whereas G2, on the other hand, now FaZe was constantly excelling compared to their namesake.
And that could be a victim of reputation, right?
Yeah.
We could be holding Titan. Titan is performing very well, but their bar is set so damn high because they are Titan.
Right.
That the public perception is this team sucks. When really they don't. They are playing fine. They're top 10 talent. It's just it's Titan and we expect more from them. And now they're G2. Will that expectation change at all? I don't think so. I've been, kind of reading forums and everything like that today, and I feel like people expect them to pick up where they left off. Clearly, though, let me get back to this Cadian tweet. So he tweets off saying that, they got Scream back for free, kind of tongue-in-cheek. Scream responds to him, maybe people should stop talking without knowledge, smiley face. So he drops that little nugget in there. So there's more to what we see here. Common sense would say maybe that means there was a signing bonus, so they didn't pick Scream up for free.
Yeah, there's no way they got him for free. They're going to be paying him.
There has to be in today's world, there has to be a signing bonus, considering there's rumors going that Team Secret is looking to get into CSGO. All these organizations, even some that we may not even heard of, are trying to get into the scene of esports and CSGO. So of course there's going to be a signing bonus. How Scream is just going to drop that and then walk away, we'll have to find out. Though there's full disclosure. Nothing's going to be said.
No. And if it is, it's going to be like heard through the grapevine. Like they tell somebody that told somebody that told somebody that told Richard Lewis.
Yeah. So...
since adding Scream to their lineup, they've only had... it was in September, and it looks like they've only finished one tournament since then, and they finished third and fourth place at CEVO Season 8 finals.
That's what I was saying. Comparing them to G2, it's not like they flipped. I think this is what I think. I think the money that FaZe offered for G2 was probably some ridiculous amount, like $700,000. G2 no way was going to turn that down, and figured he could sell that for $700,000, give each of these players $100,000 signing bonus, and still come out on top. Yeah, and give them a ridiculous signing bonus.
He's definitely benefiting from the fact that all of these large investments they're looking to get into esports. He's picking teams up on the cheap and then selling them to somebody that doesn't really understand how much a team is worth. FaZe shouldn't have never paid that much money for
if that's
XG2.
The amount.
Yeah.
No, and I agree. If they paid that much for G2, which maybe they just really wanted a respectable team, because they are respectable, but that's a lot of money to be throwing around for those type of players there. Looking at G2, though, it's one of those things where you want to say, why would anyone go play for an organization that quickly is overturning players and a full-on roster and everything the way they did? But at the same time, when you're looking at it from an organization's point of view, when he might have sold G2 to FaZe fully knowing that he could pick up Titan, maybe there was talks before that.
My only deal is I'm especially Scream. Like, you would think he'd be hesitant, because why would you go get a job with an employer, like you said, knowing full well that the employer, if somebody was like willing to pay a lot of money, they would just drop you. Like, they would be like, okay.
Well, especially when he left, when Scream left G2 originally, he was saying it just wasn't the right place for him. It wasn't the right fit.
Well, he was
apparently that was only talking about teammates and not organization.
Yeah, because a lot of it was about the language barrier, him being French, and he's now on a mostly French team. I'm not sure if they're all French.
So you have all of that, and again, this is all speculation. We don't know anything behind closed doors. I don't think we ever will know all of the money and all of the decisions making there. It's one thing in esports that is kind of mind-numbing, especially for people like us where we try to have a talk show about it, to where you don't get as much information as you would as please, and all these announcements are very just let's throw up a paragraph or two on our website and we'll move on.
I'm wondering if the artist that works for G2 is going to get tired of redrawing CSGO people.
Probably not.
Because they draw the little anime characters for every roster they have.
Let's be honest. He's probably volunteering. He is probably not getting paid anything for that. Let's be real here. This is esports after all. People don't get paid. But speaking of somewhere where esports, I want to move on. Like I said, there's G2. Did you have anything else to say on G2? Because I do want to move on to this X game drama.
No, I don't really like Ocelot, but that's personal opinion.
Again, yeah, that's because he's overturning selling players for clear profit on his end.
Yeah,
hate him because you ain't him.
I'm hating the player, not the game. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's just like I said. There's not a whole lot to discuss because it was a straight Titan move. What to expect from G2? Well, it's the same thing you can expect from Titan. I feel like those expectations are still there. They're still the team with the worst facial hair. So they just moved over and switched names. It's the same exact expectations, though. And I still don't think they're going to fulfill those expectations by any means. Switching an organization doesn't do anything. Like, you're not just going to all of a sudden be like, oh my God. You know what? When we were on Titan, we never thought of this strat. But now that we're on G2, all of a sudden we're like hitting our headshots and everything's working.
We're looking at you, Optic, X Conquest.
Right, exactly. Just because Optic is way bigger in a sense of organization and name, it doesn't do anything. If you take the full-on roster, nothing will change. Maybe a little bit.
Their wallet's got a little bigger.
Right, nothing significant, though.
Yeah.
They have a little bit bigger names, more household names on their roster now. That's basically all they ended up doing. But moving on, speaking of household in esports. So this last weekend, there were the Winter Xgames in Aspen. That, 3-day, 4-day, whatever it is, event where quote-unquote extreme sports happen, snowboarding, skiing, all that fun stuff. I love it. I watch it every year. I watch the Summer X Games and everything here. It's on ESPN. ESPN recently started dipping its toe back into the esports pool. And ESPN, doing what they do best, and that's promoting their product, was like, hey, if we have this X Games on our channel, wouldn't it make sense to have some esports at X Games? And then make it like an X Game event and everything there? People will love it. Well, they ended up doing that. They had Halo there, which this was actually part of Halo's World Championship Tour. It was an event for their World Championship Tour.
Qualifier, right? A type of qualifier?
So here's the thing. It was just for, in my eyes, publicity. Because this X Game tournament had no bearing on the actual point spread out for the tour.
Really?
For the league.
It was just a separate...
It even says this was on MLG's, or I'm sorry, not MLG's, but Halo's website. I always associate them with MLG. Halo's website. It says, while the teams will be participating in Halo World Championship Tour events, the X Games Aspen Invitational will not contribute points or change placements for those regional finals.
Yeah, publicity stunt.
So it's a publicity stunt, which I have nothing wrong with that. You have to get your name out there. You have to have friendly matches. Every sport does it. Hockey will have a USA versus Canada in Australia. That's fine. Soccer does international friendlies all the time for this purpose, for getting their name out there. I have no issue with that. Where people had issues was the fact that they were getting X Game medals for this. So bronze, silver, gold medals for their results. Now, I know to some that might not seem like a big deal. Like, who cares? It's a medal. What's the difference between that and prize pools and money and everything like that. The difference is, I guess, more of the sentimental value to what you have to do to earn that medal. So this all started, though, from a tweet from, I'm going to attempt this name, Kristi Liskinen. That's how I'm going to say it. Kristi Liskinen, who is a American freestyle skier. She's won a bronze before at X Games and everything there. She tweeted out saying, as athletes, sometimes we risk it all to win X Games. No gamer in the world deserves an X Game medal. Hashtag couch games. Hashtag athletes only. Now, everyone instantly grabbed their pitchforks and went after her. She did tweet shortly thereafter saying, to clarify, actors have Oscars, musicians have Grammys, hockey has the Stanley Cup, football has the Super Bowl.
Right.
Making her, I get her point.
She's saying the extreme action sports, they get X Game gold medals. That's their trophies. You shouldn't be giving it to somebody that doesn't do X Games. So, backstory. I also love the X Games, and it's because when we were growing up, when the X Games started, we were the target demographic for the X Games. It was, the whole system was, X Games was giving this new tournament sort of thing to these sports that people said were not sports or not traditional sports because they weren't football or baseball or, hockey, like skateboarding and dirt bikes, not racing, but, the freestyle dirt bike. And then they did the winter, and it kind of expanded and turned into this whole counterculture, not counterculture anymore type of event.
And now you see them in the Olympics.
Yeah. And they took these things that nobody wanted to respect and kind of made them respectable. So on that hand, I can see why, and it makes sense when I think about it that way for them to include esports, because esports hits a lot of those same.
And it definitely makes sense with the demographic. Yeah,
it hits the same demographic really well. The people that were out there skateboarding and stuff, or whatever, were playing video games as well. I mean, you and I, we have an esports podcast, and we watch the X Games, every year that they come on because it still interests us. So the demographics are there. I also agree with her, though, that it almost, especially for people that have had to work at it and, have, like she said, put it all on the line. There's people that, flat out died, skiing in a half pipe, or it kind of cheapens the medal a little bit to give it to somebody that is, competing in a different manner, I guess.
And I agree. I think they could do a tournament there. There's no problem having like a brother-sister tournament,
right,
for esports at the X Games. When I was watching it, and to not try to be as cynical about what should be a positive thing for esports, because don't get me wrong, I mean, exposure is nice, but the right exposure is better. I felt silly watching the X Games, and you had this guy doing the big ski jump, and they jump and do a trick and everything like that. He ended up winning the bronze medal in the end, but one of the runs, he ended up basically falling and lower body injury. It looked like he completely busted his leg.
Right.
They never gave out an official wording, but I mean, his leg is broken. No doubt shattered his leg because his ski got caught and it looked really painful. But he ended up winning bronze. And he was willing to basically, like you said, risk his life doing it to do this extreme sport. Now, yeah, it's a ski jump, but you don't know, anything can happen on those things. So I understand where putting in that amount of work and everything like that can get you that medal. And like I said, to them, that X Game medals is their Super Bowl. Yeah, it's in the Olympics, but
some of it is, yeah.
Some of it's in the Olympics, but the X Games is like, that is their Super Bowl. That is what they train for. That's what they work for. That's what they grow up wanting to win. And I see where her point is all of a sudden, where these kids can come in, not play a physical sport at all, let alone an action sport, and then walk away with an X Game medal, whether that be gold, bronze, silver. They're walking away with a piece of, memory that a lot of these guys work really hard for and put their bodies on the line for, that they might not ever get. So I do see her point. I'm with you. I agree with you where I felt kind of silly watching the Halo tournament at the X Games and then them getting an X Game medal. Like, even for me, it felt silly. That would be the best way to say it.
It's in it, looking at the tweets and response, it actually looks like the biggest upset that people are the thing people are most upset at is the hashtag couch games. Like, out of everything you can be upset about, you're upset about the couch games hashtag. It's like you play video games on your couch, like, unless you can afford a DX racer to play Halo in. I don't understand why would you get upset at that hashtag?
No group of people in this world that is more sensitive than people who play video games.
Well, like all you're doing is validating her point of, like, when you jump at something like that, like, you just be proud that you're, if you like gaming and you are a gamer and you do esports, you sit on your ass a lot. Like, that just comes with the territory. Why are you mad about it? Why are you mad about it?
Part of the territory. So, look, gamers are the most sensitive people. Everything is an attack on gamers. If you don't like esports, well, it's because you just don't understand. And I've heard some arguments from this tweet that have spawned that are just absolutely ridiculous. Keep in mind, we're doing an esports podcast because we love esports and we want it to succeed, and we watch them all the time and we play games all the time. But to tell someone that a professional gamer, yeah, they put in as much time and they do put in as much effort and practice, but to say, like, well, they do things that are just as impressive as, what standard athletes do, like, you are never going to win that argument ever. Like, do not bring that up to someone. If you're trying to get somebody into esports, don't be like, hey, so you like that Odell Beckham one-handed catch? Well, check this out. Look at this flick shot. You are never going to convince anyone that a triple kill, 360 no scope, whatever, a complete team wipe and base takeover, whatever, pick a game, doesn't matter. You're never going to convince anyone that it's more impressive than doing something physical. Yeah, in our world it's impressive, but you're never going to convince mainstream of that. So just don't bring it up, because they will just roll their eyes instantly and tune you out.
I've been asking this question for a while now, and I don't understand why esports, like, why so many people in esports want it to be accepted by everybody else. I mean, why do you need this validation from the X Games to well, like, for your sport? I mean, esports, just go make your own tournament.
And this is what I want to branch off into, because this got me thinking, are we forcing esports onto the mainstream crowd too hard? Are we doing it not the proper way? My short answer to that is no. The esports community is not doing it the proper way. Partially because there's conflict within the own community on how that should be done. Half the community wants to welcome anyone in open arms and be very patient and explain to people everything and saying, hey, you might not like Counter-Strike, but watch it, learn it. You'll learn to appreciate at least the competitiveness of it. You might not ever play a game of Counter-Strike in your life, but if you're a fan of competition, you will be a fan of esports. And then you have the other side where they want to treat it as like an exclusive club, to where if you don't instantly fall in love with it, they'll grab their torches and pitchforks and go after anyone and everyone who calls them a couch games or whatever other term that they want to use to make fun of people who play video games. I'm with you in the sense of we don't need X Games for it. There's plenty of tournaments out there. The X Games and Halo, that was just ESPN being ESPN. That was them trying to reach a demographic and saying, hey, young hip kids, you like video games? Well, you like snowboards? what if we put them together? And it didn't work out, I think, as well as they hoped.
Well, this isn't the first time. They also did it. MLG did a Call of Duty at the Summer Games, the 2015 Summer Games. It wasn't nearly as big as this one was, or didn't get nearly as much attention. I don't think it's. I think the people that are trying to reach the esports demographic, us, are going about it the wrong way. I don't think it's esports that's trying to push it out in the mainstream. It's very obvious that esports is already a big enough market that it can be sustained by itself. But with like ESPN coming into it, they obviously want to push it out, as much as possible. It's like our demographic or people that watch esports are already concentrated into one place. Why do you have to put it on television when we're already going to sit in front of? I watched it on Twitch. I watched the Halo tournament on Twitch because that's where that's where people go for the content. And I don't think that ESPN or TBS is going to change a lot of minds by putting it on television. I can tell you, just looking at the response to TBS's stuff being announced, that the people that are going to watch it on television are going to watch it on television to try and make it succeed. And those people are the same people that are watching it on Twitch, but they're only watching it on television to make it succeed.
And I agree, because have you ever asked someone, hey man, why don't you watch esports? And their response being, you know what? If it was just on TV, maybe I would respect it a little more.
Like, yeah, the people that want to watch esports already have ways to do it. The only way you're going to really grow it at this point is not putting it on television. It's going to have to keep growing the same way it's been growing from day one, and that's just more people playing video games. It's a natural extension of people playing games, which our generation grew up starting to play it in mass. Our kids are probably going to play them even more because they're going to be even more readily accessible.
Not if my fiance has anything to do with it.
And I was reading a study about football earlier today that 1 in 6 parents don't want their kids to play football because of safety concerns and things like that. And if parents are starting to feel that way about real sports, with air quotations for everyone at home listening, then video games are just going to become even more popular, and it's going to become an outlet. And that's the only way it's going to grow.
I agree. I think natural growth would be the best way. Growing through being professional, being adults about it, helping the people who want to at least have an open mind, I think, watch it. My issue is, and before the show, we were playing Heroes of the Storm together. And I told you we were going with this new approach where I would say, please, when I told someone to do something. Like, hey, go to bottom lane and stay there. Please. Because it sends off the message of, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to get the team to work together. Because earlier today I was playing, and it was this new guy. He was only a level 7 or something. So obviously he's new. And I told him, hey, don't go after the tank first. You have to go after the healer or a squishy character, and that way we can melt him and then worry about the big guy. And he immediately told me to F off. He's like, F off, give me a break, I'm new. And I said, I was kind of taken back, and I was like, yeah, I know.
That's why I was telling you that.
I get that you're new. That's why I was giving you this tip that you should carry with you for the rest of your life.
Squishies first.
Always go for the squishies. And that's the mentality, though, that gamers in general have, to where
it's very defensive.
It's in our nature that everybody's talking trash about us, or everyone's kind of trying to do one over on us. And yes, being very defensive is the best way to put it. And it's the same thing when someone brings up esports and someone makes fun of it or something like that. Look, older generations, 40s and up, minus Sir Scoots and Alchemist, you're not going to convince the olds. That's a battle already lost. Just like they couldn't convince the olds of their generation, that not putting your money under your pillow would be the best decision there. There's always this gap between generations that I think we just have to get over, or even people our age who don't get into esports. We either A, have to accept the fact that not everyone's going to understand the concept of professional gaming, and B, for those who don't immediately attack them. Like this, like for this person here, this Christy Liskinen.
Oh, you went for it again.
Yeah, Christy Liskinen. Instantly, people were like almost making fun of her for being a professional skier. And it's like, well, way to go, guys. Like, that's going to really convince people from outside the scene that this is a respectable thing that we should have at the X Games and in public eye.
You actually kind of put into words.
Like, what professional athlete that's going to see this and be like, so she made her point, and all these people are making fun of her for being a professional skier, and then being like, oh.
You've kind of put into words something I was struggling with in my head, because on one hand, I'm like, I don't, who cares about the establishment and what they do? Like, who cares if ESPN asks you to be on the X Games? But on the other hand, I'm like, people should, casters should be in suits, calm the banter down and be a little more professional when you're on camera. Like, I understand, there's long times and delays and you have to fill the time or whatever. But the way you worded it is exactly right. It's you don't have to be ashamed to be a gamer or into esports and enjoy it, but at the same time, you want to make it as accessible as possible so that if somebody new comes along, the first thing they see is not Richard Lewis calling somebody a retard 50 times on a cast. Because nobody is gonna want to deal with that.
It's funny. It's funny to some, and it's funny to people out in gaming because talking trash is part of the tool, right?
Right.
I mean, it's a blast when I get to talk shit to people. But yes, talking trash to people on Twitter, to this professional skier here who made her point, not the best way that you're going to earn other X Game athletes' trust. Because, say, for instance, we'll say Shaun White. Everyone knows who Shaun White is. Professional snowboarder, skateboarder, everything like that. Say he was also a gamer, which I'd have to assume he is. All of a sudden, now he's in this weird place where, okay, well, I love video games and I would love to see professional gaming be a thing. But here's this community completely trying to tear apart one of my friends in my other community for just making a point. And really, honestly, that's all it was. As athletes, sometimes we risk it all to win X Games. No gamer in the world deserves an X Game gold medal. That's all she said. There was no personal attacks. Like, if you really got upset about that, then you're sensitive. Like, if as someone who is into esports really took that as a personal attack, I think you have to look at yourself and be like, are we taking this a bit too serious?
The answer is yes.
All of this is too serious. Even sports talk. I mean, it's ridiculous that we can even talk about that. But the fact that you're going to get that upset over it, like, come on.
Yeah,
we have to be willing to take the critique to convince them otherwise. If you're always on the defense and ready to attack, you're not going to convince anyone. You're just going to push everyone away.
Yeah, it's accessibility. Like, if somebody wants to talk crap about esports, you just say, okay, like, fine, you don't get to be a part of the club that enjoys it.
Right.
Who cares? Move on.
If you want, let me know and I'll introduce you.
But everyone's looking for that next Twitter wreck or whatever so that they can, get a couple extra followers or something. I wouldn't know about that. I've only got 200. So.
Don't we all? Don't we all? So that's kind of I'm off my soapbox now. I think I would love to see esports in mainstream media. I think mainstream media is making it difficult. I think esports community is making it difficult. But am I worried? Nah. Like you said.
It's already big enough that it's not going to die.
It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I think 10 years ago, esports was popular. It kind of took a lull, and now it's back. And I really feel like big enough investors are in it now to where it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, Colin Cowherd, enemy number one for esports, even on his show said if Mark Cuban came up to him and asked him to invest in an esports team, he would.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear that quote.
Yeah, yep. I was going to pull the audio, but then I figured, no, he's still a douche. Just because he says that doesn't make him not a douche. But he did say it's a good business opportunity and nerds can make a lot of money. I was like, I'll take it. I'll take that compliment. So moving on, though, because we're going to keep this one short. With God as my witness, we are not making this one an hour long. We're going to move on to the micro. I have a few things here, and they're kind of a package deal, so I'll let you go first. Well, I have some fighting ones that I want to talk about.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Let's start with speaking of TBS and mainstream media. E-League announced their actual schedule. Their official schedule is released for their first season of Counter-Strike Global Offensive tournaments. It's going to be a 10-week tournament starting on May 24th with group play. They're actually going to be streaming Tuesday through Thursday from 12 to 7, or Tuesday and Thursday, 12 to 7. No, Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 12 to 7, all digital. Friday from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., TBS and digital. So it's a significantly...
Is it a simulcast?
Yes.
Okay. So
and it's a significantly long cast Friday.
What I'm seeing online is going to be what they're showing on TV.
Yes.
I like that. I like the fact that it's super long, because I remember we always said they can't do like an hour.
It's all, and it's probably only going to be one match,
which is fine.
Like one best of 3 or something.
With commercials, which it's going to be on TV, so there's going to be commercial. That's fine.
That is in the dreaded dead zone that they call it in broadcasting TV. That Friday from 10 to 1. I guess the only people that are home are people that are playing hashtag couch games.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, the only people who are home are going to be the people who would watch it.
Yeah.
So it works out great for them.
So May 24th through July 1st, essentially, is going to be the regular season. Then there's going to be a bye week. There's going to be a last chance qualifier from July 12th to the 15th. Quarterfinals July 21st to the 22nd. Semifinals on the 29th. And finally, on July 30th, a Saturday, Global Championship from 4 to 7 p.m. on TBS and digital.
Awesome. That's awesome. So July is that, and then they're going to turn around and do a winter one?
Yes. July. They haven't announced the schedule for the second season yet, but it should be very shortly after that. They'll probably take about a month off and then, start it up again.
I'm hyped. The hype is real on that one. I wouldn't be too worried, though, about that whole dead zone time of 10 to 1. I mean, that's in Counter-Strike's favor. That is in esports' favor there. You don't want to start out in prime time. Prime time standards are way too high.
So the whole dead zone thing started because originally from like Friday from like 5 to 7 or 5 to 8 was prime time television. Everybody watched television, and then shows died because nobody would watch it after that.
If you're ever wondered if your favorite TV show is about to get pulled off the air, if it ever moves to Friday, it's about to get pulled off the air. No one watches TV on Friday. No one listens to radio on the weekends. Hence the reason why I can be on the radio on the weekends.
In kind of connection to that, Rick Fox's esports organization is already expanding into CSGO from League of Legends, of which they actually don't have a League of Legends team yet. So I think they're actually doing that backwards by...
No, he has a League of Legends team.
They have the team?
Yeah, they're not good, but he has a team. They're pretty fresh on the scene, but,
He has expanded into CSGO with Mo and Sean Garris starting a team with TCK A2Z, who's the best Counter-Strike player in the world, and RYX. They will be called Echo Fox. Cloud9 is crying right now, a little sad over Mr. Garris leaving.
I didn't look into it too much.
No, I said it as soon as it was announced. This is like, if you just want to play Counter-Strike with friends and make money doing it, this is the perfect situation. You have 2 10-week seasons for TBS. It's only in Atlanta. You're only playing in NA.
And when you're in that long of a season, it could work out very well for them because Mo also streams a lot.
Yep.
And he probably makes more money streaming than he ever will in Counter-Strike. So that probably works out best for him. I would not be surprised if you only saw them participate in like these type of tournaments, like the really long leagues, local NA tournaments.
He's got over 500,000 followers on Twitch.
So I could see that being a possibility. That is going to be a very interesting team, though, because I know Sean Garris, I don't think he did Cloud9 dirty, like you said. It's just timing.
I just think it's such a good situation for an NA player that's tired of the grind, like trying to play international tournaments. Like, I wouldn't have turned it down in a heartbeat.
Nope. And I know him and Mo always like playing against or with each other rather. So I'm interested. I think with Rick Fox being the owner, I'm intrigued by that because he is a former professional NBA player, 3-time champion for that matter. So to have him own an organization, I would love to have that type of leadership in my owner. In the sense of he knows exactly if the team's having a down period, he knows exactly what that's like.
Right.
He knows if
he's got the experience,
if they're butting heads, if Sean Garris and Mo are arguing, he knows when to step in and when to let it happen. Like he has that kind of inside professional athlete perspective that a lot of these CEOs for these organizations do not have. He's older in the sense of compared to others. So I'm really intrigued to see how that ownership works out because
that's actually one of the quotes Rick Fox says. He said, he said there were losing environments and winning environments. I know what they look like. I know what they smell like, and I know how to help individuals go to another level. He's saying the same thing you are. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. He knows how to work with people, how to get people to make themselves a better player. And again, when it comes to a physical sport, whether that be football or skiing or professional gaming, putting in the time and effort's really all the same. It's making yourself a better player and how to unlock that next level that I think he is actually going to have a very, very good insight on how to do. So I'm going to keep an eye, even though I don't like their name or logo.
The logo's awful.
I'm going to keep an eye on them. I have here Cannes Winter Clash. Cannes is a French city, so I hope I pronounced that correctly. It will actually be the first ranking tournament on the 2016 Capcom Pro Tour for Street Fighter V. So that's going to be February 26th through the 28th, so in about 3 weeks.
When does 5 drop?
The 16th.
Okay.
So this is literally 10 days.
Like no time, yeah.
It goes, and this is a Pro Tour point. I mean, this is a big tournament to start the year. Same thing last year. It's the same. Cannes was the first tournament on the tour last year. Now, the game didn't come out 10 days before, but
there'll be carryover. I can't imagine they're going to change it all that much.
I'm with you. I don't think... actually, I would be surprised, apart from maybe smoother frames and everything like that, why change anything at all, right? Everybody loved the game before. Why don't change the mechanics? Don't pull a Super Smash Brothers and change the speed up for whatever reason. Capcom, here's the thing with Capcom. Capcom likes to cater to the really skillful players. Where Nintendo likes to kind of cater and want to get like the mass community involved. I think Capcom CEO is all about the no. Street Fighter is for, the big boys. And we want to keep it for the big boys. Just keep it in the theme though. EVO 2016 announced all of their games that they're going to have this year. That is July 15th through the 17th in Las Vegas. 1 year I will go to there.
You were talking about going this year.
Mistakes will be made. Yeah, but with the wedding.
Yeah.
We're both going to MLG Columbus. We're going to DreamHack Austin.
Yeah, Columbus was a little expensive.
In the same year that I'm dropping a ridiculous amount on a wedding and then an even more ridiculous amount on a honeymoon, I can't justify going to Vegas for it. So we have all that, but so Street Fighter V will obviously be there. Everyone knew that was going in. Guilty Gear XRD, that will be there again. Most of these games are all repeats from last year. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, that will be there again. I really hope they're not going to do it because of copyright issues. But I wish they came out with a new Marvel vs. Capcom, but they're not going to do it. From what I've read, there's just too much butting heads between now that Marvel is owned by Disney.
Oh, yeah, they don't like to let go of their IPs.
Too much conflict involved now. When it was just Marvel, sure, give us the money. Disney is a different ballgame. There's Pokken maybe tournament. That's the Pokemon fighting game.
The Pokemon / Tekken game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
I wanted to.
Pokken, I guess is how you say it.
Yeah, but they had to change that in Russia because apparently it means something very different in Russia.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. So that's going to be there. So that's going to be awesome to see. Then there's obviously Super Smash Bros. Melee and Wii U. Again, I feel like they just have Wii U there because they have to. I mean, I watch it. I don't really enjoy it, but I watch it. Killer Instinct will be there. Killer Instinct actually had their World Cup tournament over the weekend, and Rico Suave ended up winning in that. So there's that.
Rico Suave?
Yeah.
That's his name?
I'm assuming that's his... I don't know if that's his real name or not, but I think it's what he goes by. And then, of course, Mortal Kombat X will be there as well. So there's that. I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games at EVO. Again, a lot of repeat from last year, but we talked about it, I think, last episode. Is EVO losing its image? And I don't think so. I don't think it's going anywhere, because that most likely will be a stop for the Capcom Pro Tour again. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But it looks like overall 2016 is leaving Street Fighter 4 in the dust. They are not pulling a Super Smash Bros. Melee where they keep the game around forever.
Well, that's out of necessity.
5 is coming out and 4 is done. So there's that as far as fighting game goes. Did you have anything else for the micro? I know we have the IEM Tapai and
the European Minor Championship
qualifier of the qualifier.
Which Hellraisers won. They took home $30,000 and a direct invite to the offline major qualifier. They beat out eFrag in the finals, winning 2 maps to 1. eFrag will now have a chance. eFrag, Penta, and Pixel Fire will now have a chance at the last chance qualifier, which will then feed into the offline qualifier, which will then feed into the major. So this is the first of 4 qualifiers for the major.
All right.
Yeah. Pixel Fire, in of note, went into a 3 overtime game against DNDD, winning 41-38. Sorry to the casting team that had to sit through basically 3 matches in one.
Well, speaking of that casting team, which was
Richard Lewis.
I'm talking about just the commentators, which was
Sadakist and Henry G.
Yes, those were the only 2 for the entire tournament. Like, they were pulling like 14-hour long days, just calling the hell out of matches. And then you want to throw in a triple overtime game? Like, props
in group
to
play too. It wasn't even like
no, like how they even pretended to care after that, I will never know. But knowing TBS's luck, their first game will be a triple overtime, and then they're gonna be like, "What do we do?" The good news is, though, it's gonna be 1 o'clock in the morning. So what the hell are they gonna do? Just let those overtimes roll. Get out into that 2 o'clock in the morning time frame if TBS ever gets that long of an overtime game. And then you had IEM Taipei, which I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch a second of. If you think European tournaments have awful timing for us, try an Asian tournament. I couldn't even wake up to figure out when that was going to be on. I think it was on that sweet spot where it's way too early to wake up, but way too late to stay awake. I think it was in that time frame there. Anyways, the Mongols ended up beating Renegades in that. So Renegades took second. A team from Mongolia, the Mongols, ended up taking first. Again, that was a $30,000 first place prize.
That was also a qualifier for MLG, I'm pretty sure.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, let me...
Well, let's look it up on the glories of the internet. While I go on my little speech on Renegades. Renegades, the team where Sponge said not too long ago, somewhere along the lines of that they're better than any other NA team and they just don't get the respect as the other professional teams do. That is the same team that ended up taking second place at a primarily Asian Oceanic tournament.
In Taiwan.
that should probably be your time to shine, don't you think?
It is. They won $15,000 in a qualification for the MLG Columbus Major offline qualifier. Renegades. That's what Renegades got for second place. First place was $30,000 qualification for the major offline qualifier and qualification for IEM Katowice.
Oh, okay. So they're kind of a double qualifier tournament then.
Yeah. For first place, yeah.
Interesting. And yet Renegade still gets to be part of the Turner League.
They signed early, which is probably their best bet. Because that team, it's a tier 2 team.
You think that was the best decision? Are they a tier 2 team?
Yeah.
Are they?
They just lost to the Mongols.
That's what I'm saying. They might even be lower tier 3. This is the discussion of how many teams are in your tier. I would say 5 teams are tier 1. Maybe 6 teams are tier 2. So
they might be down there in tier 3 then.
My tier 1 is, I keep 5 teams in tier 1. My tier 1 are top. I don't let any slackers get into my top tier. So I don't know. Best decision they ever made, though. You are right.
Yeah, just waiting for that next video of them
getting into that
making it rain.
Yeah, maybe they could just take more vacations in Vegas.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's gonna about do it for the episode today, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 18 of The Center Ring is all said and done. I hope you enjoyed listening. If you did, let us know what you think. We are on Twitter at The Center Ring. You can always find me at Pirate Mushroom. You can find Brandon at Brand Ininu.
Yes.
Brand Ininu, ININEW. You can also go to our website, TCR.GG. You can find just the audio there if you are a sucker for the classics like myself and just like audio, like a good old-fashioned podcast should be. Also, on our homepage now, we made it all fancy, and you can actually just watch the YouTube right from the homepage.
Very true.
So you just go to the website, tcr.gg, and you can find everything there. You can even find all the links to everything else that we're on. So do that. Subscribe to YouTube, because we always need more of those. Where we officially ran out of family members to get to follow us, so we actually need our listeners to follow us now. So that, again, does it for episode 18 of The Center Ring. Check us out, tcr.gg. We will be back next week for another fun-filled episode. Teaser, there might be a big guest. There might not be. You never know. We're just kind of at the mercy of everybody else on this world. So we will see you then, and until then, stay safe. Stay so very safe.